I had a friend on Facebook ask me a question that just reminded me of so many other people who have written in, over the past few months asking pretty much the same thing. And they were PDs who were in small markets or medium markets or just a market somewhere where PPM did not exist. They were still under the diary system. And the question was basically, what's the difference? What's the difference between a diary market and a PPM market? How do they work? What's different about them? Can you explain that? So that's what I'm going to do today. Hey Buckaroos, I'm going to go back in one of the earlier lessons from, probably well over a year and a half ago. And what I find is I've been going back in the older lessons as I'm trying to, look at things of what I taught before in a longer form and put them into this step-by-step stuff. I find that a lot of the old lessons were really long and I was covering, way too many things probably. But one of the things that was buried into one of the long lessons was, what's the difference between a PPM market and a diary market? Like, what's the difference? How do you, explain that? So I went back and took a piece out of one of the older lessons, and it's, it's just a segment when it makes it really easy to understand the difference of when you're wearing a PPM monitor, which is like a little pack of cigarette type thing, and it's stuck on your belt or wherever you want to put it so that, it can hear, not deep in a purse where it can't hear anything. And the other side was simply a diary, that a listener will get a diary and they have to fill it out. And what that causes, and it causes some significant difference, really. And, and that's what this old lesson, as I'm just cutting it out, will go through. So let's do that now. When there's a meter in play and you have a meter and it, it's sitting in your pocket or it's on your, on your belt like a pager, it's picking up everything. So if you went into a doctor's office and you're waiting, to get, say, your, teeth cleaned in a dental office, if there's music playing, it's going to pick it up, even though you're not listening to it, okay? So you don't think of, if you're in a diary, you don't think of actually listening to that radio station. That's not going to cross your mind. I went, I got my teeth cleaned, big deal. But for the entire time you're waiting, and probably, because it's playing throughout usually the whole office, by the time the person's sitting in there for, half hour, 40 minutes, cleaning your teeth and doing the grinding and all the stuff that they do, that meter is registering that other radio station that you normally don't listen to. So that's one thing. So, it's sort of, there's a cause and effect there. Now, let's take it in a different way, because in the diary method, the entire onus really is on you to capture a person's mind. And that's where having a radio station where somebody loves the radio station and there's passion in the radio station and it really matters to people about the radio station, that's why it becomes so important, because you're actually trying to dredge up their memory to write down your radio station. So here's like a typical day that probably would happen. I could see this happening for, tons of people, okay? Let's make the math really easy, ignoring when people normally go to work, and they probably go to work earlier than what I'm about to describe, but just to, to make the point. Okay, their alarm goes off at 7 o'clock. Bang, it goes off and the radio station starts to play, and it's their favorite radio station. It's the morning person that they like to listen to. So they're lying there in bed for about 5 minutes, and maybe they have it go off at 7 o'clock so they actually hear the news, if the news is on the top of the hour for headlines or whatever. Anyway, they sit there for 5 minutes, like drowsy. Then they finally get up out of the bed, and then they start going, mopsing around, and they're going to go down. Maybe they go into the master bathroom. Maybe if they're in an apartment, they have to go down the hall because there is no master off of the bedroom. They go down the hall. Now they're out of earshot of that radio station. If they had a meter, the meter's not picking it up. But in their mind, they're still listening to the radio station. They're in there and maybe they brush their teeth, maybe they sit and go get into the shower. Clearly, with the door closed in the shower, they're not listening to the radio station. But if it's a diary person, they're still listening to the radio station when it comes time to write it down. Okay, because they write it down at the end of the day. Maybe they might do half of it somewhere in the middle of the day, although that's kind of unlikely. So everything is memory. So anyway, I'll keep going. So they're taking the shower, they dry off in the room, they go back out again, maybe they walk back into the bedroom, they hear the station playing again, they're in the bedroom, they get dressed, If it's in a house, they go downstairs. They usually probably will turn the radio off and go downstairs. Now, no radio is playing. When they get down to the kitchen to eat, they may not turn another radio on, or they may get down there and their kids are already there. Unlikely if they got young kids, but anyway, if the kids are there, or the wife or husband has beat them to it and got down there, they may have a totally different radio station on. But let's just say it's the same station as they had in the bedroom. Anyway, there was a time lag from listening when they woke up to getting downstairs and listening again. There's a hole there for the meter, but there's not going to be a hole there for the diary. So now they're in the kitchen, they're eating, they hear the station, blah, 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 and all that usual stuff. And then, okay, good, maybe they turn the radio off and they go out to their car and, they're going to get in the car and then they're going to drive to work. Or they're going to get in a subway or something, depending on the city that they're in. Let's say they get in the car. Okay, they're in the car. Now, they might have done this. They might have been on an all-news radio station or a news station, that type of thing, when they were at home. But then it's like, okay, I got the news. I'm in the car. Let's hear some tunes. And they might throw on a classic rock station or a top 40 station or something on the drive to work. So now, legitimately, there's two different radio stations that have gone on there. And then they get to work and, they get out of the car, they turn their car off, and then they go in and then there's a completely different radio station playing. Maybe it's like an office type AC station playing in the office and it's on all day long. When it comes time for them to fill out the diary, high odds that this is what ends up happening. The station that they woke up with, they go, well, I wake up at 7 o'clock. I leave for work at 8 o'clock. Okay, so I listen for an hour, and they'll just write down one station, 1 hour, whatever that main station was. And then when I get in the car, I usually listen to the classic rock station. Okay, well, it took me 5 minutes to get to the car. So 8:05, now I'm on the classic rock station, and I get to work at 8:30, so that's what I listen to, on the classic rock station. And then I turn the radio off. And then they'll have a routine maybe for coming home in the afternoon. And decent likelihood that nothing for that station at work is going to be there because they didn't turn it on. It wasn't their choice. So if it's not something that is really a favorite of theirs and really registers to them that, it's one of their radio stations, it may never get listed. So that's why it's incredibly important to capture the people's mind and the image of your radio station. And they need to have passion for it. Just playing 8 in a row or just being this or just playing a bunch of music, that's not going to get it. You need to get passion in a diary market, which is usually the smaller markets, usually 50 and below. You need to have people really love your radio station. It also comes into play very much so in having people remember what station to go back to. Because they may be bouncing around and they hit a station, oh, I really like the station. And then the next time they're in the car, I don't remember which one it was, and they just keep bouncing around. So memory is a big thing. Hopefully that explains the difference between a diary method and the PPM method. All right, so we're going to continue on with the step-by-step of you're the new PD and you're in a new market. And what do you do? And I just thought I'd throw this in as a little extra to help you along. So until the next lesson, see ya!